We're trying new makeup today, y'all. I don't know, when I got dressed today, I was just in my resort season bag, apparently. Let's talk about the things that we're gonna be using today. This isn't new, but I haven't really gotten a chance to use it on camera that much. We're gonna use the Patrick Ta foundation today. And that's because we're going for a very well, there's gonna be cosmetics, don't get me wrong. But like, I want my skin to still look like skin when we're done because we're also going to be using the new Lisa Eldridge pencils. So these are the Pinpoint Concealer Micro Correcting Pencils. This is shade 2, but they also I bought this. They sent me 3, 4, and 5. I did finally just get the chance to watch Lisa's video and it was just so lovely. I have this, which I'm actually really excited to show y'all today. This is the new Nars Afterglow Tempting eyeshadow palette. And then we have something kind of funny, which is that I received both of these kind of in gifting, thinking that they were like new shades of these things, and I actually don't know if any of them is new. I got a bunch of blush shades from Merit. Okay, they are new. 5 of the shades are new. I got 4 of the new shades and we're using 2 of them today. And I got a bunch of shades that I assumed were new from Make Beauty in their Heat Stroke blush. And then I went on their website, nothing is marked as new. And then I was like scrolling through their Instagram to see if there was like an announcement for it. No, not about any particular shade. So these are both gorgeous. I'm gonna kind of compare the formulas today and we will probably end up using both. I got these in the mail. I got 2 of them. These are the new Kosas Extra Bright. And every time that I've used them, it's gone really, really sideways. So on that delightful note, let's go ahead and jump in, y'all. Where's my sponge? What does mom do with things? Oh my God, it was so funny when I actually went to visit my mom and I took Simon with me, obviously over Christmas. And anytime I would get annoyed with myself, I'd be like, oh, great job, mom. And my mom would be like, what did I do? And I was like, no, I'm mom now. And she's like, oh. It was a good laugh because it's just very sweet, you know, that like, now I'm the mommy, she's the Mimi. So the Patrick Ta foundation is what I'm going in with right now. Hope you like my little clinky rings because that's what you're getting. I'm going for this because my skin is so dry. It's that time of year. It's the one that I always talk about all year long. I talk about this time of year when we get into just the deepest part of winter. And I live in New Jersey. Yeah, we don't need that much. And my skin just seems to kind of like not be able to revive itself. I will tell you though, I know sometimes it's hard to believe because you see sponsorships and people always assume that if you're being paid to say something, then you probably only mean it like a little bit or whatever. Like you'll notice I really try not to take cosmetics sponsorships because I don't want it to like interfere with a review I might have later. I don't want to kind of form those kinds of loyalties to brands. All that to say, that new version of the Current Body LED mask, I notice when I use it one time. Like one night, if I like haven't gone for a little while using it, and then I will use it one night and I will wake up the next morning, I'll be like, that's better. Like right here will be plumped, under my eyes will be plumped, my skin will just look less purple and like see-through and sallow. It's like very evident that collagen is being stimulated and I'm like, it's happened too many times for it to be my imagination, you know? I'm just like, this thing really does something, you know? So that's been my savior lately. I need to remember to do it, you know? It's only 10 minutes, it's not a big deal, and I always tell myself I'm going to, and then by the time I get in bed, I am toast. So I've been making a point too. I'm gonna swatch a regular Kosas concealer against these so you can see what we're talking about here. I'm gonna try and make cuter swatches. I was watching Alexandra in LA the other day and her swatches are so pretty and I was like, mine look like I'm like running a foot race while I'm doing it. Like it's my second priority. Just get it on the skin. Oh, the doe foot's different too. It's triangular and a little bit tilted. Now the pink looks more lavender now that I'm seeing it against that medium toned peach. So there might be an argument to be made here for like this actually being a color corrector for people who have like olive undertones and their under eyes go yellow. Mine don't. Concealer is fine for me. I don't really need something to kind of like go in as that extra step, but I don't know. Let's just do like a little bit of it underneath my eyes, see if it makes a difference. Because I don't know, I've been seeing these like bright pink powders coming out and stuff like that. Obviously they serve a purpose for people in general, but mainly for people with olive undertones. And I love to see that. So maybe just seeing it on my skin, even if it doesn't work, will help olive undertoned people go, aha, yes, that's what I need, or not. So here we go. I'm gonna only put it under one eye. How's that? And then we'll just see. So I don't know, like here-ish. I mean, it's gonna add more coverage, obviously, but like, it's not particularly iridescent in comparison to the concealer, the original concealer. So it's not giving a ton of reflection, and that's fine because that formula is outstanding. So like, you know, it could have been blue and it would have been fine. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's just a good formula. It's always going to leave a really nice texture on my skin, but it is distinctly pink. And when I started trying to use it the way that I would use like a Becca corrector, which is like, I would usually be able to camouflage like the kind of gray that I get, like my melasma stash underneath my makeup and stuff, that kind of like pigmentation, discoloration sort of stuff that happens to me in the sun. And this just kind of started to make my whole face turn pink. And if you watched my video recently about like, these are the best colors for your undertone, you'll know that me as a like warm leaning neutral, everything tries to turn pink on me already. I am cursed sometimes with what I call pink face, and that is like when too many products I have on my face don't have enough contrast to them and then just like my whole face seems pink, or like I end up putting too many things on and they all blend together and like face pink. And so that's why I'm not like putting it everywhere. I mean, I'll go ahead and do it on one side just to show y'all, because I think that it is like, again, a good visual demonstration here, just to show like, you know, all these little gray spots, old acne and stuff. Maybe even like on my eyelid. I mean, we're gonna cover that up with eyeshadow anyway, but I mean, maybe I'll use it as an eyeshadow base. It's such a lovely formula, but it is interesting to see how it doesn't really look very lavender on my skin, but once I swatched it next to the medium toned one, it was definitely lavender. See how it's just kind of pink. And I could very quickly end up going towards pink face. In fact, in that video, I think, the video about what's good for your undertone or whatever, I made the mistake of kind of experimenting with this and then also using this Dolce & Gabbana bronzer. And it was odd because this one leans so almost pastel yellow on the skin that it's fun to work with sometimes, but I have to be mindful of the other things that I use it with. And then I used it with that pink, which is actually kind of lavender, and they just repelled one another. And I feel like it made my skin look even pinker and it made this look even yellower. So I don't recommend that combination. And if you're like, I didn't notice that in that video, I covered it up with plenty of other things. But what you don't see in that video is that my skin has way too much makeup on it. Now we're just gonna use regular Kosas on the other side in that very small amount, because I do also want to demo Lisa Eldridge's stuff. In fact, I'll leave that one undone so that we can use the Lisa Eldridge Pinpoint Concealer. I did love though that Lisa was talking about, like the first thing she said was like, I'm working on 4 formulas. This is just the one that was finished first. I was like, hell yeah. Because it does seem like kind of I mean, obviously it's like her trade. She literally has pinpoint concealing trademarked. And I do very distinctly remember that video. It was like a game changer when she introduced that technique on YouTube, because no one was pinpoint concealing squat. We were shellacking ourselves, you know? And so somebody just being like, you don't have to wear that much makeup. You can just go dip, 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 dip on the spots that are a problem. We were all just like, you know what I mean? Like, wow. So it makes sense as a debut product, but at the same time, if you've never, like if you don't have context for who Lisa Eldridge is before you see that, you're like, that's the one you came up with? Like with a 1.5 millimeter tip on it, like that's the concealer. There will be 3 more, apparently. And you can bet, seeing the condition that this bad boy is in, that I'm on the edge of my seat. So, there you can see the brightener, and there you can see just regular concealer. I think that mainly I just hope that olive undertoned people look at that and decide whether that will work for you. Because I did a video, it was over on my Patreon, and now I don't have Patreon. I might just make the video public, but it is like silly. But it's me and my friend Rebecca in here doing a color analysis on her, you know, with all my paint swatches and everything, and it's just very, very goofy. And we end up playing with some color theory, and she is very olive, like very, very olive, and she does have that thing where her under eyes go yellow. And we took this right here from ABH, this blush, and we put it underneath her eyes, and it was actual visual magic. I wonder if we could use the ABH blush. And I also have a sponge here for you if you want to use it.
I'll do a side by side here. Oh my god. Actually though, look at the difference.
Whoa! Holy sh! So anyway, putting that on the under eyes, if you have that yellow thing, it's not just a great color, but it's a great formula for it. I highly recommend it. Nobody really, at least to my knowledge, like talks about this. Someone go tell Olive Undertone Reddit, like this is a very, very good under eye corrector. The ABH Blurring Serum Blush in Baby Pink. And I also mix it with concealer and try it on the other side, and it is actually just the blush itself with no concealer in it that works best. So for comparison's sake, that is the ABH, and Rebecca is as fair as I am. And then that's the Kosas. But the Kosas does look still pretty cool. You know what I mean? It's still verging on lavender, so it might work. It might be useful for y'all. I just fear that it's too opaque. I think that that's the advantage that the blush has, and also why when I mixed it with a concealer it didn't work as well, is because the color corrector for an issue, or whatever you want to call it, that is at the skin tone or lighter does not need extra coverage because they're not darker than your skin. You can just basically put something translucent over it to like cancel out that yellow and go about your business. So anyway, I am just gonna put some Kosas on the other side here because I don't think that the brightener is necessarily meant to stand alone anyway. So we'll see if it helps underneath concealer, because that's kind of the whole purpose of a brightener, unless you're, you know, you can wear them alone. I can wear like the Becca one alone, but it's to essentially add, obviously, a contrasting tone to cancel out something undesirable, but also, or not undesirable, unwanted. Who am I to say that it's undesirable? But also it's that like rich versus hollow thing where you fill in the mid-tone, and I don't hate that. You know, I don't hate that. It's just more coverage. But all I did really, essentially, was like mix those two things together. I just mixed like a cool pink with my concealer as if my undertone were more cool pink, which I don't really think I'm the customer for it, you know? So the takeaway there is, if you looked at that color and you are fair olive and you were like, oh my God, finally, like that's going to actually serve the purpose that I have needed because I've been mixing something purple with my concealer this whole time, then yes, you know? But if you are someone who really just wants to like cancel out yellow under eyes and you don't want it to be in like a full coverage concealer-ish formula, this is so good. This is so good and like totally not what it's for. I like ran out of Zyrtec and I'm always like, I'll be fine. I'm so not fine. Look at my nose. I look like one of those tissue commercials. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I always feel so gross wiping my nose on camera, but we're all human. Let us discuss these Lisa Eldridge pencils. I'm gonna swatch all of them for you real quick. I'm gonna hold it back here and maybe zoom in because I just don't want it to get blown out in the light. So the lightest one here is shade 2, and they just kind of go 3, 4, 5. So 2 is the shade that I wear in the skin tint. So that was why I bought that, and they sent me these 3 because I think that that was their best guess at what I would wear. So I'm glad that I have 4. So you can see that that is really fair on me, but it's also very neutral, which is lovely. And number 3, I would say, I'm not gonna say it's olive, but it is a little bit greener than my neutral over here. Just a touch. I'm not going to say that it is gonna not turn like a little bit peach. I had to change my battery out. As I was saying, number 3 here, if anything, it's a warm olive. I don't think that I would recommend it for a cool olive. So, you know, tread lightly, but it might work. Then we have shade 4 right here, and it is quite rosy by comparison. And then 5, I would say, is like just a deeper neutral. I could be wrong as opposed to what they're listed as on the website, but that is what my eyes are telling me. Oh, and they waterproof, man. They're wild. Like they'll move for a while, but man, they are grippy once they go down. It is crazy. Like I've reached up absent-mindedly and like scratched a spot where there was one. I was like, oh no. And I look and I'm like, nothing, no harm done. You know? Stuff is wild. It's like, it like goes to rubber. Okay, so I left that there on purpose. I'm just gonna resist getting too close. I am getting a new eyeglasses prescription next week because your girl's going blind. Sarah, we're gonna do one of these. This is shade 2. So you can see it's a little bit light, but I don't really mind. I think it's gonna blend to something really nice. I have been using these and this is the one I feel like still matches me the best. So I don't know if this is the right brush to really do it with. You could do it with your finger too, but this is the BK by Angie Hot & Flashy A506, the kitten paw that we use for like under eye concealing. And I will just tippity tap. What's cool about this is I feel like even when you push your finger on it, it doesn't pick the product back up very easily, which is so great. Like that pisses me off Sorry, I mean, it does. When you go to try and cover something that's really gnarly and you put concealer on the top, as soon as you start blending, it just knocks it right back off the top. You're like, yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted just a whole load of concealer around the blemish, but I wanted the top to just be bald. That's what I was going for. So I might even, because her pinpoint concealing technique does talk about like reverse contour essentially. So instead of wearing a lighter concealer on a blemish, just highlight it, you kind of wear a lighter concealer around it and then you use something just slightly deeper for the top, and that's going to almost reverse contour it so that it disappears even more. You know what? The woman speaks my language. Yep. That worked like a charm. That looks great. I don't have a lot of blemishes really right now, so I mean, no complaints. I was using it on this one for a while. This thing was just really unreasonable. It was like, I had this one little thing I woke up to in the morning and I mashed it, it like blew up in this bulb for like 2 days. I was like, you? Why? She does talk about also being able to use this as like a lifting technique. So we're gonna use it on the top of my lip because why the heck not? That sounds awesome. I love that. I've been wondering if I like want to go get my lips redone because sometimes when I'm dehydrated they look really deflated, but I have not had my lips done since 2021. And I look at old pictures of me and this is not what my lips used to look like before I got filler. It's not like they went back to normal. It's like my lips just don't metabolize filler. It's awesome. Like, thank you, nature. So yeah, it's like a little John Hughes mustache. And then we take our same little friend here. Oh, I could see Hindash. I'm sure Hindash already does that. But like, that seems like such a Hindash trick. You know, to just make the lips look that much more subtly plump. What do we think? I mean, that's an optical illusion that you could get right in someone's face and you wouldn't notice. That's really cool. And then, I don't know, she said that there are other spots where you might want to sort of lift. So like here, a lot of times I just powder it. It's not a problem for me. You know what I mean? I wouldn't consider myself to have, what do they call them? Like marionette lines or anything. But let's just see, like one side to the next. Like if I just throw a lighter color, hello? Concealer right there. If we can see a difference. Because once you start to train your eye for something like that, color theory becomes your biatch. She is completely at your command at that point. Yeah, it does. It like lifted that out. Isn't that cool? Huh. Let's do it on the other side. And she does. She says she just scribbles it like right there. And it looks like it's just kind of flattened out. And then, you know, you think about the tip that Violette always talks about where she's like, leave the makeup off of your nose because your nose is like the dead giveaway that you're wearing like a lot of foundation or something. And I've always been like, I don't really care. You know what I mean? I don't care if people know that I'm wearing makeup, whatever. But right now, because I keep wiping my nose, it's so funny the contrast between like, it does look like I'm wearing a lot less makeup because I'm wearing no makeup on my nose. And then to do that optical illusion on that line right there, it like makes it even that much more believable that like, I didn't do anything, you know, it's just like that kind of thing. But it is funny how it sort of like flattened my face. Color theory is cool, y'all. And I might do it just to see. And this is how it works. You just crank her up like that. So you don't have to actually sharpen it. It's just like right there. Because I'm always putting concealer underneath my whole eye when really that's where the actual dark spot is. And my skin is not pigmented like that. I just have really thin skin, so my veins show through. Hey, look at that! I mean, I see it. Do you see it? I could sit there and play with that technique all day, okay? That's pretty cool. I also got a couple of comments, at least one comment, kind of complaining about the amount of product in one of these for the price. And like, that's not really the point. I'm not usually one to die on this hill. Like, I will always be like, yes, get the most for your money, especially when it comes to a complexion product. But if you want to take a cream concealer, a really intensely pigmented cream concealer on a brush, and use it for pinpoint concealing, you can get the same effect, okay? Like, no one's making you buy this, but it's about the way that it has been designed to do exactly what it does. And I think that the whole point is that you're hardly using any of it. You're not using it like, you know, like a real under eye concealer. It just doesn't, those two things don't compare to me. You're not gonna compare this to this. They're just not the same kind of product at all. Okay, I didn't want to powder, but my under eyes are just being really pernicious. So I think I'm gonna take a little tiny bit of my Kosas. Y'all, my friend Natalie's coming to visit me tomorrow. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So I get Simon this weekend and all next week. I'm so excited. But we have Thursday after she gets in to just kind of go have some dinner, maybe go to Sephora and like poke things together, because that's what you do when you have a makeup friend, is you just go to the makeup store with them. Like, that's what all makeup friends want to do every single time. It's the best. Then we just get to like hang out and play Mario Kart with Simon all weekend. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be fantastic. I'm very excited about it. Okay, I started getting a little bit addicted to that beautiful finish that he gives my skin and that nice opacity, so anyway, the Lisa Eldridge does not need to be set, but we set it anyway. All right, we need some contour, and I don't want to go in with a powder yet. I want to stay in cream as long as I possibly can, because everything's so dewy. The moment that you hit that Patrick Ta with powder, I feel like you take all of its power away. So it's like, I did try to be very judicious with it there because of just the other things that didn't want to set. All over powdering his foundation is a quick way to make like a brand new polymer of some kind of, you know, a liquid plus a powder. It makes like a clay. You don't want to do that. It is very, very present on the skin. For it being one of my favorite foundations that came out last year, it is remarkably different from this, which is my other favorite foundation from last year, which actually is my new favorite foundation of all time, is this skin tint from Lisa Eldridge. I have yet to hear a sour word about it, except for people wanting more shades. I'm using the Westman Atelier Biscuit right now. I was swatching this, actually. I pulled it out to swatch because, man, after I posted that video about the best colors for your undertone, I don't know why I wouldn't expect this, but it was almost like I had made a prediction video, like as an astrologer. Because then, I don't know if you ever look at the comments under those things, but it's like everybody shows up and they're like, well, if this is my situation, then what does that mean for me? You know? It's like, everybody did that, and I was like, whoa. And so I spent hours, really, like, I don't mind it. I spent hours like actually individually addressing a lot of people's questions in the first couple of hours, and then the next day I put some time aside, the next couple of days. The thing is, I mean, as much as I love doing it, it liquefies your brain after a while. Even if it's something that you're really, really into and maybe even really good at, still sitting there crunching color math in your brain and like sitting there staring at a color wheel. They just do. I mean, it's like running equations all day. I'm not claiming to be an engineer, okay? I want to say I really enjoy talking about those things with y'all. It just is like very intensive in terms of like the brain juices that it costs me after a while. I'm always just like, all right, I want to answer these questions, but like the engine is not turning over anymore. Okay, so I have 6 shades here in the Merit blushes. I really like these. They're quite translucent. So, I mean, they even say they're like 3 swipes is going to give you like the most visible, you know, amount. That's going to be like maximum color saturation for this formula or whatever. But I have here Beverly Hills, Postmodern, a very, like a really, really pretty wine color, like red wine. Terracotta, it's this really beautiful soft orangey peach, verging on tan brown, you know. Lusitano, which is a very, very pink, like a red pink almost, you know. I think I could wear it still because it's got quite a bit of coral, the way that it acts on the skin, but we're gonna be going in with a cool eye look today, so I don't think I'm gonna use that today. Then we have Bespoke. This is my girl. I really like Bespoke because what in the hell is that? I love that it's called Bespoke because it's like, yeah, it's that feels custom. You know what I mean? It was like, desaturate it more, desaturate it more, desaturate it more, you know? And then you end up with this like non-color. That's great. I love it. That's a great blush color. And then we have Archival, which is, this is the most disorganized, so are you kidding me? When I turn my arm around, you can't see it. So Archival is straight up mauve. So we'll definitely be pulling this one in today at some point. On my other arm, I'm gonna go ahead and do the Make Beauty ones because then we can kind of compare them. So first we have Spice, left hand to right hand. These are going to be even uglier swatches than usual. So there's Spice. Not particularly similar to any of those other ones. Flushed. Flushed is it's giving peachy, but like nothing like terracotta. Interesting. Basque. Ooh. Basque is down here really similar to, what was that? The very pinky one that I used? Lusitano. Basque and Lusitano are pretty similar. And these are really similar formulas. Like, that's why I'm comparing them. They're so similar. Okay, and then we have Flare. I think I've owned Flare before. I think I bought Flare a while back, but it's nice to have a new one. So Flare is kind of a berry pink, quite similar to whatever the diddle that was. Which one was that? Postmodern. I want to say that's Postmodern, so very similar. Let's talk about this here Nars palette. Again, it is called the Afterglow Tempting Eyeshadow Palette, and you can see it's Valentine's-y. I am a huge fan of a Valentine's Day color palette in general, so that's why I bought 3 to compare. I've used this quite a bit, and what I find really interesting about it, like what I found interesting about it when I went to buy it, and also now that I have it in my hands, is how warm this is, and then how cool that is. Even though that's a pretty saturated lavender, it's still much cooler, you know? And then this is, I would argue, just a much more desaturated version of that. And so it's like, those very well make a cool leaning eye look, and then you can use some of these cool leaning shimmers, and then this is going to, if you layer them, you can really pull it into like a neutral eye look if you're game to like layer 2 colors that are that different from each other on top of each other. It does do it. And then you see we have these like beautiful shimmer textures, right? Like those are absolutely beautiful. There's those 4, right? Some of them are a little sheerer than others. But then when I went to use this, I went into this color, and you never know. You don't know when you're looking at it, like what it's gonna do. And it's Bedroomized Brown! Oh my God, I'm so excited. Look at that color. Oh, that scratches every itch for me. Are you kidding me? When people in my comments come and they're like, sometimes things are boring and that's a good thing. I'm like, you must be new here. Have you seen how excited I get about the right brown? So we're definitely going to be using that. I have done a like fully cool toned look with this palette before, and it's possible. It's very pretty. I think that it even works on my skin tone because that purple is not super blue purple. It is still kind of in that like pinky, you know, category, and it's quite saturated. And we'll probably use a little bit of it, but honestly, if it doesn't get used today, it won't break my heart. We're gonna compare all of the Valentine's-y ones that I bought again at some point. So honestly, I just think I owe y'all a really satisfying Bedroomized Brown moment, and that's what we're gonna do today. The other thing, and this might bother some people, the other thing I'm gonna do, in fact, maybe I'll just do it on one eye to demonstrate, but this is a palette where you will notice, even though there are 9 pans here, and yes, we do have a bright shimmer here for like an inner corner, there are no fair matte shades. So that's wonderful because it's gonna work for so many skin tones. We love to see that, but at the same time, if you've watched my hollow versus rich video, this is going to be a visual demonstration of that, because when I put the mattes on my skin, even if I get them perfectly blended, they're always gonna look a little bit patchy because there are too many standard deviations away from the lightness of my skin. That's just how they're put together. So we need to bridge it with something. And people sometimes complain in my comments that like, I wish you would show the eyeshadow palette without basing it first because I wanna see what the colors look like. And what I'm trying to do a lot of times is actually like accentuate my natural base so that you can see the colors better. But I hear you. So the answer is I'm gonna go one side with this first, because this is going to add the medium tones for that eyeshadow palette to make the most sense on my eyes. This is Impassioned from Nars, and it's just that perfect kind of fair mauve that's going to really capture the personality of that palette, but that color does not inherently exist in that palette. You know, in a shimmer it does, but not in a matte. So it's going to make things look a lot better on my skin. And that's a really great trick for anybody who's trying to bring a deeper palette into their skin tone without it looking patchy. I'm gonna take a little bit of that, And I'm just gonna base my entire eye with it, like pretty conspicuously. And if you haven't watched that video, I highly recommend watching it because it's just a really great way to look at it. Like I do a visual demonstration that makes it really easy to understand what I'm talking about, I think. But also, I will just go ahead and give you a summary again, and that is that like, what I've done there is I've taken probably the shade that I'm going to be going for as my local color in that palette, and then my skin tone, and I've kind of met them in the middle. It's like when you're filling in hair color before you dye blonde back to brown, you gotta fill red in the middle because colors have to kind of rebuild upon themselves. You can't just put like all the top tones back into something that's empty or it will look hollow. And so when I put this palette directly onto my bare skin, color-wise, it's gonna look a lot hollower than it will when I do this. Just a little sneaky trick. Okay? Okay. We are going to start over here in this beautiful, warm brown. And I'm gonna kind of just do both sides. I am so into this color because it looks a lot like Bobbi Brown Cinnamon. Look, you know, there's only so many colors that look incredibly harmonious on our skin. And so it's like, of course, we're going to be drawn towards their occurrences where we can find them because it's like a nice little safe harbor, especially when you're working in some, you know, unfamiliar territory. But I do love that even though this is quite a warm kind of clay color, you still get that beautiful, like this is such a nuanced color. It's not just brown. It's like mauve brown. It's like they've taken purple and they've desaturated it and desaturated it and desaturated it until it went brown. And I love that. I find colors like that very exciting because they can really help with the optical illusion of creating shadow without appearing like it's gray. Because that color is going to work nicely against my undertones, especially, I mean, it'll be opaque, so maybe not as much, but if it were going to be something sheer, you'd be able to see the coolness of the shadow and the warmth of my skin kind of like harmoniously meet at neutral. But in this case, you're gonna see it on top of a warm shadow, like the one that I'm applying right now, and you'll see that its relative coolness adds to the depth of my crease visually. My crease! So, I'm still working just with the warm shade because we are gonna go bedroomize brown. Yes, we are, my friends. I have the cutest. There you are. Little river brush. And I'm gonna use that to do a little tiny detail on the shadow here with that deeper color. If I could have all Rephr brushes for my eyes, I probably would. I think synthetic, I mean, I know that they're doing a synthetic line now and like that's great for like creams and stuff, you know, sure. But I don't know, for an eyeshadow brush, I wish that all my brushes were natural fiber. Okay. My battery died and I did not have another battery charged for some reason. So I took a break, I had some lunch, and the makeup got a chance to like set on its own and the textures are so beautiful. Especially, I am shocked. Like, you know, I was eating. It wasn't just like drinking a smoothie. I was like eating shrimp and like sweet potatoes and like avocados, you know what I mean? And like, nothing moved. All of the kind of pinpoint concealing and the like, what does she call it, like shadow lifting and stuff is seamless when it's all dried down. Doesn't move at all. And you can also really see the difference. I mean, I guess it's a matter of taste, but it's like, that's with the Nars blush as the base and it's just a lot more blended. And then that's without it and it's just, you know, visibly more patchy. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that blush on there before we get too much further. I just wanted to kind of demonstrate that that can be a really nice technique sometimes to just get you a quarter of the way there so you don't feel like you're like trying to blend to death to get a deep color to go, I don't know, like evenly into your skin. You can just start with something that's kind of halfway in between, blah, 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 and then it's a lot less work to do. Putting that up here. And then I want to take a little bit more of the warm tone here. Do I? Yes, I do. And I'm going to put that a little bit further up here because again, the contrast between my skin and this palette is creating a visual bright spot right there between my socket, which my eyes are pretty deep set. And then when it comes back out, it's like I'm already going to have the light hit a lot more harshly right on this like front facing part of my face. And so it helps to bring color up onto that to like not exaggerate it, you know, bring it up a little higher than I think. But it's the combo of this and the cool tones that I feel like equals out to something that is still reading a little bit mauve. All right, it's looking a little bit bananas, but that's because I was building a foundation to put Bedroom Eyes Brown on. And after that, nothing's going to matter. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like when you just cover something in ranch dressing. It's like, okay. This Bedroom Eyes Brown is about to become the star of the show. Yeah. Look at her. She's so pretty. And there are some really pretty spangly toppers in here, which I can also make use of for this look. Do you see that? How it's like a little bit warmer and then also it's got texture. It makes my eyelid look like it's like coming for you. Whereas this one's just kind of like back here, like minding its own business. So when it comes to smearing this kind of thing on my eyelid, yes, it's very cute and very pretty when you first put it on. It's like, oh yeah, we love a rock and roll grungy eye, except that I don't. And I still kind of want to hem it in with things. And so I am going to go back in with a little bit of our cool tone here. I don't like a lot of sparkle in the crease. I do like my eye to be able to kind of comfortably rest. I don't want to stress anybody out. So anyway, I'm gonna take that same brush and then I will use one of these really pretty spangly ones like her. Ooh, it's so subtle. And just kind of tippy tap, and blend that inner corner as much as I can. My nails are long and my eyes are so deep set, it's like kind of hard. Nailed it. It's already looking more unified. Eyeliner, mascara, it really fixed a world of sins. And I'm gonna take that same brush because I like it just so darn much. I'm gonna take the Bedroom Eyes color there and also go a little smoky underneath the eyes, because what is the point of a bedroom eye if it does not look like you just woke up? And then I do like to, when I have something that has this much variation and depth to it, I do like to take like the deeper shade that I was using in my crease and just like visually look at this. So here are the outer corners of my eyes, right? We're talking about almost like a topography situation. Like if you were looking at one of those like topographical maps, it's like all of the things at this elevation right here are this color. And so I should also do it right here. If that doesn't hit for you, don't worry about it. It will never affect you again in your life. But I like to just pull it right there. See how that just kind of obscures the outer corner? And that one like is still glowing. And it's also so that my eyeliner doesn't contrast a whole lot, because then I don't have to get it as perfect. Before we do eyeliner and everything, I still want to go ahead and get blush on, because if we go in with any powders after I use mascara, I don't like that, because then my mascara's got powder on it. So we were going to start with Bespoke, and while I just rubbed that with reckless abandon on the back of my hand, I'm not going to do that on my face. I'm gonna go in with a sponge, because I'm responsible sometimes. I'm not responsible, but I am practiced enough at screwing my makeup up that I know how not to sometimes. It's that color. It's that weird ambiguous color that happened there. That's luck, okay? I knew what products we were going in with and I knew what I wanted to do with the eye look. I've used all of these products individually, separately, and most of them together for this look, but like if it doesn't quite go perfectly the first time that I try it, I go, we'll do it live. You know what I mean? And I'm like, so it'll change a couple of things. I know what I want to do, but I'm not gonna like redo the makeup look 3 times because it's not a tutorial necessarily. I just don't want to get on camera and be like finding out what's happening at the same time that you are, you know, because like so much dead air of you just being like, well, I guess it's doing this, I guess it's doing, like, what a useless kind of video. So I really try to avoid that. I want to make things useful. Bespoke. Are you freaking kidding me? We're ending up with something that's just like so dreamy looking, you know, between like the eyes being so all just like sleepy smoky. Yeah, I think that we wanted to use the lavender, which is archival. Right? I don't know now. I think Bespoke kind of did the job. I don't want to go too hard. My eyes are already wow, you know? And did we actually end up doing bronzer? I don't think that we did. So I'm going in with the Armani here. It's a little bit olivey, which I feel like I'm kind of cosplaying having olive skin right now because these colors would work so well on an olive complexion. But you can tell by the fact that this is actually going quite mauve on me that I'm not olive undertoned. If an olive undertoned person used all of these things, it would probably go the most pleasant set of beiges because it would all kind of cancel out. It'd be beautiful. This is such a triumph of a product. And I wear shade 90. I always forget to say that. And it's like, I usually will tell people like, oh, I wear the lightest shade in something. Why would you call it shade 90? Do you have 89 other shades? I don't even have to look. I know you don't. Might throw a little bit of that in the eye look just to unify everything real quick. Not that you can tell anything else. School bus is home. Honestly, this eye looks better anyway, blending wise, just because I laid the blush down first. Whereas this one, having to go in after the fact, I feel like I'm just having to do a lot more work to get it to match. Okay! While he does that, I'm going to put on my eyeliner and my mascara and my eyebrows, and then we're gonna come back and choose a lip. I'm actually really loving this. We interrupt this time lapse because I messed up my eyeliner on this side, and that really almost never happens. It's almost like I did it on purpose. I didn't, but it's almost like I did in order to demonstrate the other thing that Lisa said that these could do, which is like clean up your eyeliner. I'm gonna probably use the darkest one for this because I don't want it to show up too contrasty against my eyeshadow because it's pretty. It's pretty to have that little bit of lightness there. Okay, as you were. Because I do feel like anybody looking at this would go, Kackie, all of your eye looks end up the same. In my defense, I work tonally. Okay, that is my style of doing makeup, is that because I am so tuned into the colors on my skin and the colors that, you know, I see with my eyes, I am always seeking to harmonize all of the color cosmetics on my face, because no matter what temperature you go with on your skin, within reason, if there's harmony between those things, like a little old lady going to church where her hat matches her bag, matches her shoes, it's always going to look like a vibe. And so that's why when I get done with my makeup looks, they kind of always look really at home. So it's like, oh, it looks like she always does the same thing. And it's like, well, no, it's because I chose like this kind of like mauve and then like clay color. And then I ended up sort of creating that same color on my cheeks, and we're gonna kind of create the same color on my lips, but it's because it's the way that I think about the colors that I have, not because I literally am using the same product on every part of my face. Any hoodles. I don't know why today I just feel like kind of answering the like few one-off comments where I've gotten, I'm just like, I feel like you just kind of like maybe my channel's not for you, you know? Like it's a big internet, and I feel sometimes like people are like on my channel like, can you be more like someone else? And I'm like, why don't you just go watch that other person? I don't know. It's like no hard feelings. I'm not what you're looking for. So the combo that I'm thinking is gonna work. I used this when I tried the makeup look before, but I'm thinking now that we have a little bit of brown going on, that my Kackie lip liner in combination with the Open Sesame, the Western Atelier, oh come on, La Nudes, there we go. This one, this gorgeous mauve, it's like actually 4 shades in there, you know, but you just smear them all together. So I'm gonna start with my lip liner, and then I'm going to go in with that, see what happens. Wow. And this is against that lighter John Hughes mustache that I put at the bottom of this part of my face, whatever that's called, in order to create that kind of lifted effect. And let's just kind of run with it even further, I guess. I need to send Lisa one of my lip liners. That's what I need to do, because you can't get Thrive in the UK. Okay, this is so pretty, and it's pretty tenacious too. Like you really gotta like get it going, and once it's on, it's on. But you can make some really beautiful colors here. You can kind of deepen it by working more to the outside, or, you know, lighten it more to the inside. It is truly my lips, but better. And I do feel like I want, now I feel like I want that mauve blush. Where the hell did she go now? Where did she go? She ran off. Archival. Yeah, it's time. I'm just gonna put a little tiny bit of that because it's like, oh, it's gonna go so well with that. See? So unfortunately we did not end up using any of, that's so pretty, the Make Beauty blushes today, but they will find their way into another video very soon, I promise. But I would love y'all, if anybody actually has the proper information, like, can you please tell me if they're actually new or what shades are new, if there are any new ones? That would be great. Because I am out of the loop. I have my Victoria Beckham bronzer right there, the bronzing brick, just because, yeah, it breaks up that line right there. I am not sure that my lip liner was like the best call there. I kind of feel like the lip product could have stood alone. Yeah, it's fine on its own. Awesome! Okay, cool. So let's go through the products that we used today and how I feel about them. I know that this isn't the first time that we've used this, but the Patrick Ta foundation, I love this stuff because of the way that it wears in. So you saw, at first it made my makeup a little bit frustrating, but I think that that was more to do with like there being kind of a disagreement between these two things. I feel like this being so soupy and this being so intensely pigmented. I don't think it's the fault of either of these products. I just think that they don't go together really well because this is really self-setting usually. And this takes like 15 minutes to be like at its best. And even when it's at its best, it has this like bouncy texture on the surface. And I just don't think that this works very well with it. You need a thinner formula with it, like the Tower 28 probably, or something that's more like this, which would be like the Westman Atelier. But I really, really like it. And I have shade, and I don't even have to tell you guys, 5, golden neutral. I realized about halfway through that I talked about the blushes long before I put them on, which was a little bit weird, so I hope y'all followed me. But I don't have anything in particular to say about the Make Beauty ones today because we didn't get to use them. But I mean, I will say, just swatching them, the Merit formula is so similar to the Make formula that like, I don't think you can go wrong. Just pick a color that you like. And the colors are both unique. There's, you know, obviously some of them cross over and some of them don't, but I do respect Merit's blush colors a lot. And I respect Make's blush colors a lot. I think that Make Beauty does some beautiful, beautiful things, especially with their color choices. I think that these are also just so beginner friendly because they are something like, I love this shape because you can go if you want to. I didn't want to because I already had so many other things going on, but if you're wearing a really, really like no makeup face, that application is very effective. But you can also put it on with a brush or with a sponge like I did, and it really layers in a beautiful way. But like, look at this, look at the texture on my skin. That's just pretty. Lisa's pencils. I believe that they do everything that they set out to do. We are getting pinpoint concealing. We are getting waterproof tenacity. We are getting, I mean, good grief, 3 of the shades work on me. So I think that there's like a lot of flexibility there in terms of the shades that you might choose because you might need them for different purposes. It's important to think of these as pencils, not as like typical concealers. And I also love that there is the context of the fact that this is one of 4 formulas that she is coming out with for concealers. So like, don't expect this to be an under eye concealer. I feel like that's kind of an unfair way to judge this, but also it is so specifically fantastic for what it set out to do. The way that once it's down, it is down. It is down. If you need to cover a blemish, that's gonna do it. The eyeshadow palette provided so much more fascination for me than I ever expected it to. I think I expected, you know, maybe for there to be, like I saw this pop of purple and I was like, yeah, it's a kind of a throwaway palette with like a pop of purple. Everything here is interesting. Everything that they've done here is a little bit new for me. It's just a cool palette. Like it is in the orbit of mauve, but they're not afraid to also put different temperatures in there. And also, not all of the shimmers is created equal in terms of how much coverage it has. Some of them are like toppers and some of them are beautiful bedroomized browns, which I'm just loving right now. I also love that like there is this ability because you have something so purple and then you have something so like red orange that you can like use that as a sheer wash and like cool off or warm up a look. I also love that it works for some deeper skin tones. I don't really think that this is like actually specifically or primarily like for my skin tone because I do have to do a little bit of work to bridge the gap so that it doesn't look patchy. But again, it's because any color would do that. It's not because of their formula. I love the Nars formula. So, you know, you saw my little trick. Just lay down a blush first. And I feel like it works like a charm. I don't mind doing that. I would rather have more to experiment with than everything play exactly to my skin tone. And that's all she wrote, y'all. So I have more things coming. I have more things coming. I just got that fantastically beautiful new Hermes blush, their special edition blush in the mail, in the little Hermes box and everything. It's always so ceremonious to like dig into one of those. Most of the things that I am setting out to try right now are things that I am buying because I am interested in them. I think that that makes for the most interesting reviews. I love that brands send me PR, but I'm not going to let a brand not sending me PR stop me. Oh, by the way, that means that I need to go, yes, that reminds me, I need to go and buy the MAC lipsticks. That is what I need to do. I'm going to do that right now. Thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy this, please do give the video a thumbs up. If you're new here or you just haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe while you're here. I will put a video up here that I think you'll enjoy if you liked this one. Thank you all so much for being here. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next one.